Tonight, eclipse fever reaches a fever pitch.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be crazy.
The crowds, the preparations.
We made a good plan, a robust plan.
And of course, that wild card, the weather. We're in the heart of the path of totality to break down what you can expect. Yes! The father of an 11-year-old boy attacked and killed by a pair of dogs speaks out.
I'm never going to get to hear him tell me he loves me. Or that, give me a kiss, or I'm never going to get to hold him. Like, those things are all over for me.
What he says happened the day of the attack. Canada's new dental care plan is about to launch, but some seniors are learning their dentists won't participate.
What does it mean to me? I've just got to continue paying.
Why aren't more dentists signing up?
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hansen.
The countdown is on tonight for millions of Canadians to get ready for what may be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. In just a few hours, a total solar eclipse will happen over Canada, the first time in decades. The excitement is growing in Niagara Falls tonight, where up to 1 million people, some from halfway around the world, are pouring in to watch as the sun is eclipsed by the moon. It all begins Monday off Mexico's west coast at about 11 a.m. local time, moving northeast over the United States, hitting Ontario at about 3 p.m. Eastern, then tracking across southern Quebec and Atlantic Canada. Weather permitting, Niagara Falls will be one of the best places on Earth to witness the eclipse. Totality, that moment when the moon blocks the sun completely, will last for more than 3 minutes, among the longest in Canada. Katie Nicholson shows us the final preparations as the clock ticks down.
These are our Eclipse donuts, Galaxy Eclipse donuts.
Monday's eclipse is still hours away, but these celestial treats are flying off the shelves.
Yesterday was extremely busy. Lots of people coming in for the donuts, lots of people coming in for, we did like little eclipse brownies with stars on them too. So yeah, I think it's just going to be crazy.
Half an hour away, this Niagara-on-the-Lake restaurant also full throttle. They haven't had to prepare for crowds like this since Mumford & Sons fans flooded the town 9 years ago.
We, as a town, ran out of money in our ATMs, so there were huge lines outside. I would imagine there'll be something similar to that. Hopefully the ATMs don't run out of money.
Greg Virch's winery is hopping with eclipse sippers. He's curated a wine tasting for each stage of the event.
Almost like an eclipse, where you start with something light and bright. You work your way through the darker red wines that we have here, and then you might finish again with the sun coming out.
Of course, that depends on the weather, and so does crowd size. Estimates have varied from 1 million to several 100,000 in the Niagara region. The city brought in extra portable cell towers to keep people connected. Officials have prepped for over a year, but still don't know what to expect.
We've made a good plan, a robust plan, but we just don't have a hard number. And the hard number could be a factor. If it's low, it's one thing. If it's large, it can be another.
Science has to be safe.
For many, this will be a game day decision. Others have planned to be here for years. This New Jersey couple drove 8 hours just for this experience.
We didn't see the complete eclipse in 2017, and I have friends that traveled to see it and experienced the 100% darkness, and at that time it was put on my bucket list.
Okay.
And 20 years, who knows where we'll be in 20 years, so live for today.
And Katie, give us a sense of what the mood is like there this evening.
Well, I mean, the place is packed for April. It kind of almost feels, when you look out, there shouldn't be this many people here in April, but they're just walking up and down along the falls here. There are people here from Australia, people from the Carolinas. Everyone's in a really good mood, even though it's really uncertain what the weather is ultimately going to be like tomorrow. A lot of the places that I've talked to have plan Bs in case the weather is poor. They'll be able to watch a feed of of NASA's sort of coverage of the eclipse. So everyone's going to have an eclipse experience here, but maybe not the eclipse experience they were hoping to get.
Katie Nicholson in Niagara Falls tonight. Of course, as Katie mentioned, weather is the big wild card here. So let's bring in meteorologist Jay Scotland. And I know you're feeling a lot of pressure here to get this forecast right.
Yeah, feeling pressure for delivering high pressure, because that's what you want to see, to have a clear sky for the path of totality. So let's take a journey along that path. Shortly after 3:10, southwestern Ontario looking at a partly cloudy sky, so some clear breaks and a clearing trend into the southwestern part of Ontario. Likely still battling more cloud than clear sky as we look to one of the hot spots, of course, in southern Ontario, the Niagara region. This is where you'll be looking at even a slight chance of scattered showers in the late afternoon. Now, as we look towards the Limestone City, Quinte region, up towards Cornwall into eastern Ontario, more cloud than clear sky. Clear breaks possible, and hopefully they time out for you for that path of totality. As we look to southern Quebec, not a long duration, but a fairly clear sky for folks in Montreal for totality. South and east of Sherbrooke looking to be very nice, as is New Brunswick, as we take a look at a ridge of high pressure, keeping that part of the country very clear. The path of totality, of course, across western PEI with a clear sky, Magdalen Islands as well. And then as we push into southwestern Newfoundland, clouds begin to build. Partly cloudy for the Port aux Basques area for southwestern Newfoundland, becoming more overcast, mostly cloudy as we look to eastern areas. Not as great of viewing conditions for folks there. Ian.
And listen quickly before I let you go. Tell me about the excitement on the island.
Oh, here on PEI, the excitement is about as high as my anxiety for making sure I deliver on this forecast. Just by nature of being Canada's smallest province, a large part of our province will be covered in that path of totality. Ridge of high pressure keeping things clear. And I know kids are so excited, they even handed out solar viewing glasses for all island students. So the kids are at the ready. They just need this local meteorologist here to deliver. Ian?
Jay Scotland in Charlottetown tonight. Thanks. Well, let's head back to Niagara Falls and senior science reporter Nicole Mortellaro. Some clouds are expected there, but all is not lost.
Yeah, you know what? We are going to see some cloud cover here, but maybe with some breaks. But people don't have to, lose hope because it's an eclipse. You're still going to actually see the eclipse. You'll see it get darker, and you might not see the sun's corona, but it will still be an experience.
It's been really interesting today, Nicole, to hear people describe their eclipse experiences in the past. Tell us about yours.
Yeah, I went down to Missouri to cover it for CBC, and it was supposed to be a clear place to see it. Unfortunately, it wasn't. We had thunderstorms, but the clouds broke up right around totality. You could actually see the moon's shadow coming towards you, and that was something that was just incredible to feel. And then you're in the shadow, and I was able to see brief view of the sun's corona, which was just incredible. And while you're standing in the shadow, either side of you, it looks like there are sunsets on either side of you. And then the clouds did part, so I did get to see the partial phase, the end of the partial phase going out. But it is really, honestly, something to experience, even with cloud cover.
Fingers crossed for those of you in Niagara Falls. Nicole, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.
And we'll have continuing coverage from Niagara Falls tomorrow, beginning at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by a CBC News special as the eclipse draws closer, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, with reports from across Canada, as well as the United States and Mexico. Catch it all on CBC News Network or CBC Television, or watch the live stream on CBC Gem, the CBC News app, or CBC News Explore. Turning to other news now, an Edmonton father is speaking publicly tonight about the death of his son after a dog attack earlier this week. Julia Wong takes us through what he says happened in the moments before and what's making this difficult time even harder.
This past week has been a nightmare for Wesley Grist.
It's a horrible tragedy, big time. One that I have to relive almost every day.
Last Monday, in this Edmonton neighborhood, Grist's 11-year-old son Cash was attacked and killed by two very large dogs. Cash had been visiting his father from BC. Grist says he was working outside the house, and his son had just come back from the store with some snacks.
Just before he went inside, he came over, gave me a hug, and he told me he loved me, and told him I loved him. And I told him I was like, I'll be in a few minutes.
He does not know exactly what happened next.
And I walked in the house, and when I walked in, I was seeing something like, I thought that I heard the dogs making a commotion, and I seen a mess, and I didn't know what it was, what I was looking at. Nobody wants to see any child like that. But to have to be the parent and find your child like that, You know, that's the hardest thing I've ever been through in my whole life.
Grist says the dogs belong to his roommate. Cash's mom says he told her they were Connie Corsi, the same breed as this one seen here, which can grow to more than 100 pounds. The city of Edmonton says animal control had been to the house twice this year for complaints of attacks that also took place inside the house. But Grist says these dogs had not been problematic with Cash.
I watch these dogs cuddle with him almost every day. There's never been an issue like this. There's nothing, and I would never put my son in a spot where he was at risk.
Cash's parents say the dogs have been put down. For Grist, his feelings towards the animals are complicated, and he does not blame his roommate.
I'm not happy about it. The lives that, ultimately resulted in my son's life ending are gone, so I can't ask for anything more than that.
He's speaking out because his roommate has been attacked online. He calls it all a distraction as he tries to grieve.
When I'm the most vulnerable, I feel like I'm being taken away from dealing with what I should be focusing on, and it's not fair to me. It's not fair to his mom. It's not fair to any of us.
So he's focused on keeping his only child's memory alive.
He would want everybody just to be happy and getting along, because that's who he was. He wants everything to be beautiful, because he's beautiful. He's perfect.
Julia, Cash's father talked about the negative attention he's dealing with, but there's some help coming from the community as well.
Yeah, so he first says that the attention he and his roommate have received has made a difficult situation even harder, and he's asking the community for some time for the family to breathe and so that they can actually get a chance to process Cash's death. Now, the community here in this neighborhood is actually organizing a fundraiser with the family's blessing to raise funds to help cover funeral costs. And that funeral for Cash is set for next Sunday, and the family is stressing they want to keep that private.
Julia, thank you. Today, the federal government announced billions of dollars in funding for investments in artificial intelligence. It's the latest budget preview from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Our upcoming budget will include measures to create good jobs in our AI sector and to boost productivity by helping businesses adopt AI with an investment of $2.4 billion.
The majority of that money will go into a fund for computing capabilities and technical infrastructure. Trudeau said the government will begin consulting the industry on how best to use the fund. Part of the money will also go to creating more AI protections and support workers who may be affected by the technology. The budget itself won't be tabled until the middle of the month, but the opposition is already pushing back at the level of spending. Pierre Poilievre has laid out his demands in a new letter to Justin Trudeau, but as Kate McKenna shows us, the Prime Minister is making it clear he is not changing course.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is calling on the Prime Minister to put the brakes on spending.
He's spraying billions of dollars out of a fire hose, but it's more like spraying gasoline on the fire.
He sent this letter to Justin Trudeau, calling on him to stop adding to the country's debt, build more homes, and pass a bill proposing more carbon tax carve-outs, things he claims are key to making life more affordable for Canadians. But Trudeau has another vision. He's crisscrossing the country, making near-daily pre-budget announcements, billions in funding for housing and artificial intelligence, spending he says is responsible and will spur economic growth.
Once again, Pierre Poilievre is wrong, is not listening to experts and economists, and he's willing to hurt the things that Canadians rely on to get through these difficult times.
But pressure is building. 6 premiers are demanding a meeting to talk about their opposition to a carbon tax.
What I would hope is a real frank discussion on the reality of what is being proposed.
Trudeau hasn't accepted that invitation, reiterating that most families get more money back in rebates than they pay.
All we see is premiers misinforming Canadians and wanting to take away the Canada carbon rebate checks that are making a huge difference in people's lives.
If Justin Trudeau is so sure of his plan to quadruple the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre, he should have the courage to sit down with our premiers and explain that to them.
Trudeau is expected to make more pre-budget spending announcements this week, ahead of the budget being tabled later this month. Expect more measures targeting millennials and Gen Z, two demographics that have been affected by what's become one of the biggest issues in Canadian politics, affordability. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
On the day Canada was supposed to end its evacuation flights out of Haiti, it's adding another in the coming days because of a last-minute surge in requests. At least 250 Canadians, permanent residents, and family members have been helped out of the country so far. Haiti's gripped by gang violence right now, leading to food shortages and making it dangerous to move around. Israel has withdrawn more troops from southern Gaza to prepare, it says, for their next missions. That pullback leaves just one brigade in the south as the war between Israel and Hamas hits the 6-month mark. Israel's promising an offensive in the southern city of Rafah, where 1.4 million Gazans are sheltering. A fresh round of negotiations is underway to try to secure a ceasefire in return for the release of all of the remaining hostages. As Sarah Levitt shows us, they were on the minds of many as people marked this grim milestone.
In Jerusalem, a vigil to remember lives lost and those still hanging in the balance. 6 months after Hamas attacked Israel, around 100 hostages are still believed to be alive. Ziv Aboud survived the attack, but her boyfriend Elia Cohen remains a hostage. I feel terrible, she says, and I'm doing everything I can to get my boyfriend back. The repercussions of the October 7th attack are felt worldwide. In Montreal, members of the Jewish community came together. Raquel Luke lost her son during the attack.
The more the time goes by, it's like it gets a bit deeper, the absence. And it feels in some ways the time has stood still.
In Gaza, there is also mourning. This man has held weekly prayers for those killed in the war. For 6 months, we've come to this hospital to pray, says Islam Abu Izaid. He's lost 36 of his own relatives, some of the more than 33,000 people Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says have been killed. Israel's response to October 7th, vast, devastating, and increasingly criticized. The United Nations says hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are starving.
The humanitarian costs of this crisis are abominable. We need to see a ceasefire in which Hamas lays down its arms and releases the hostages.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the hostages have to be returned before a ceasefire is possible. News Sunday that some Israeli troops had withdrawn from southern Gaza was met with shock as residents surged back into the city of Khan Yunis. But Israel's military says the pullback is just temporary in a war that appears to be nowhere near its end. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
Rwandans are marking 30 years since the start of that country's genocide, killing about 800,000 people. In Ottawa, a march to remember those killed by Hutu extremists in 1994. In Rwanda's capital, a vigil commemorating the start of the 100-day massacre. Tutsis and moderate Hutus were targeted, as well as those who opposed the genocide. Canada's new dental plan for seniors appears to be struggling out of the gate.
They don't want to do the program because they just cannot handle the extra burden that comes with it.
Why many dentists are reluctant to take part. But first,
Clark, the crossover, and the hit from three.
College basketball's best female player takes on the best team for a national championship.
Perfection with a touch of sweet redemption.
And a notorious Banff bear awakens from its slumber.
There's not a lot of bears that look like him.
We're back in 2.
And he's going to need full 4-foot for the win.
A tough loss for Canada's Brad Gushue in the gold medal game at the Men's World Curling Championships in Switzerland. Sweden's Niklas Edin breaking a tie with the last shot in the final end to win 6-5. This marks Canada's 3rd straight silver medal at the Worlds. The popularity of NCAA basketball is reaching new heights this spring, and it's transcending the sports world. As Jamie Strachan shows us, win or lose, these young players are setting records and keeping crowds entertained.
Perfection with a touch of sweet redemption. Undefeated South Carolina.
With the eyes of the sporting world on Iowa's Caitlin Clark, it was South Carolina's season for the ages that took center stage. An undefeated season, 38 straight wins, capped off with an NCAA national championship.
I'm just so proud of our team, and it feels great. It hasn't sunk in yet, man.
It caps a historic moment for women's college basketball, moving from niche to mainstream and to the top of the sporting world. Clark, the all-time leading scorer in the women's game, the headliner.
No one has done more to grow the popularity in a broad way of this game.
I don't want my legacy to be, oh, Caitlin won X amount of games or Caitlin scored X amount of points. It's, you know, I hope it's what I was able to do for the game of women's basketball.
The women's tournament drew record TV audiences, far larger than the men's tournament, and commanded record ticket prices, and was even part of a skit on Saturday Night Live.
It's just hard to get excited when there's better games on.
Oh, you mean the NBA?
Nah, the women's tournament.
For fans, especially here in Canada, there's more to come. Toronto's Zach Edey leads Purdue University against the University of Connecticut in the men's final Monday night.
It's a really big deal, but obviously we still have a game to play.
Edey's story is also inspiring. He didn't play basketball growing up until his 7'4" frame attracted the basketball world.
He's dedicated himself, and again, if anybody said that 3-4 years ago that this was going to be the path that he was on, I think they'd be liars.
He certainly figured it out. Recently named NCAA Player of the Year for the second year in a row. With players like Edey and Clark set to turn pro, a generation of new stars to cheer on. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Some seniors covered under Canada's new dental care program are learning their dentists aren't taking part.
It really irks me that the federal government came out and announced a dental plan, but they didn't do their homework.
What's behind the hesitation and the efforts to get more buy-in? Plus, what NASA can learn from the solar eclipse.
They're going to be looking at the sun and chasing it as long as they can.
Canadian Jeremy Hansen shares an astronaut's perspective. And how a New Brunswick scientist is taking clouds out of the equation.
We should be able to see the shadow of the moon approaching us.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
You need to run checklist? Yeah, we're going to need some time. For now, everything's okay. Several passengers and flight attendants heard something loud hit the wing.
What hit the wing was the engine cover of a Boeing 737 airplane. The flight, operated by Southwest Airlines, had just taken off from Denver International Airport this morning. The plane returning safely. Southwest says it's reviewing the aircraft, and the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is investigating. This is the latest in a recent string of issues with Boeing planes. Starting next month, Canada's National Dental Care Plan should start covering low and middle-income seniors. But some patients are now finding out their dentists won't be participating in the program. Marina von Stackelberg explains why.
No pain on any of the implants at all?
Coverage under the Canadian Dental Care Plan starts next month. This denturist says it will really help his senior patients.
It's something that most of our clients are going to be affected by. We're happy to be part of it, especially if it works the way it's supposed to.
So far, 1.6 million seniors have enrolled. Ottawa will only say thousands of oral health care providers have registered to treat them. Dental associations warn participation is low. Case in point, their presidents, working dentists themselves, tell CBC News they won't run the program in their own practices.
My staff have told me, in no uncertain terms, they don't want to do the program because they just cannot handle the extra burden that comes with it.
They say dental offices are thinly staffed and can't handle the paperwork Ottawa requires to process claims. Plus, they don't know what they're signing up for.
unlike other dental plans, this federal program is asking the dentist to sign a contract that's like 7 pages long with a lot of unknown factors and unnecessary terms and conditions.
Some seniors are shocked to find out their dentist won't take part.
What does it mean for me? I've just got to continue paying and just have the minimal amount of things done.
It really irks me that the federal government came out and announced a dental plan, but they didn't do their homework to get the thing in place so that my dentist could be part of it.
But Ottawa may be looking to sweeten the deal.
We're working actively on creating an alternative portal that will allow dentists to participate just directly when a patient comes in front of them, to just put in the information and be able to put that claim.
Another sore spot for dentists and patients, the federal government initially pitched this as free dental care. But only some procedures are covered, and at a lower rate than many clinics charge. So you should still expect to see a bill when you leave the dentist chair. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now we go deeper into the stories shaping our world. We're just hours away from a rare and majestic total eclipse.
I'm just really excited about the eclipse.
If you're in the right place, you'll have a chance to see the moon block out the sun completely. And for the first time in years, Canada offers prime views.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime for him, I think.
Starting in Mexico, here's the path of totality, where the eclipse can be fully appreciated. And one of Canada's top spots is Niagara Falls, Ontario, where the totality peak is forecast to last 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
The best sight to see it is here.
Up to 1 million visitors have been expected. The region has declared a state of emergency. Traffic could be bumper to bumper.
I suspect we're going to see congestion on all of the arteries.
The crowds are already growing in Niagara Falls, and it includes NASA scientists eager to observe and to learn. Heather Hiscox, the host of CBC Morning Live, is in Niagara Falls to show us the growing excitement there. But first, here's her conversation with Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen. He breaks down what scientists hope to learn and how they'll do it.
Your fellow astronauts, there are 7 of them who'll be viewing the eclipse from 400 kilometers up in the International Space Station. They must be getting a spectacular view.
So it'd be neat to hear what they see from their perspective, because the best windows on the space station actually look down on the Earth. And so they will be able to see the shadow of the moon moving across the Earth. I think that'll be a really unique perspective. And so I don't think they're going to be looking at the sun like we are with our glasses. I think they're actually going to be transfixed on the planet and what that looks like as they pass over it.
There must be so many extraordinary moments from the ISS, but this would have to be extra special. And I was thinking how many advances in technology and imaging since 2017, the last American eclipse. We might be getting some really spectacular images from them.
Yeah, we're always sending up the latest camera technology, and in fact, some new ones were just unpacked in the last few weeks, so absolutely might get some neat photos.
The other thing I'm wondering about, NASA is putting up some fascinating experiments this time for the eclipse. And are there any that are of particular interest to you?
Well, one of the things that I thought was cool is that we have this special airplane in Houston where we fly the T-38 jets for our training. They're WB-57s. They can fly really, really high and carry payloads, and they have special cameras that they're going to be looking at the sun and chasing it as long as they can, staying in that total eclipse. They have some sounding rockets, so these are rockets you launch. I think they're launching out of Virginia, and they're going to go up just before eclipse, during, and after to see how the Earth's ionosphere changes. That's kind of the atmosphere around our planet. So there's some really cool things that they can do.
I knew you were going to say the W-57s because as a fighter pilot yourself, I thought that would be particularly interesting to fly that high and to do those research experiments. I'm going to be speaking to the person who's the principal investigator for one of them, so I'm really looking forward to hearing more about it. We were talking earlier about how there seems to be a really great level of interest in this eclipse in particular, but do you think it's an opportunity to foster an interest in space and astronomy in general right now?
Yes, absolutely, and science. Just this understanding that science serves us as humanity. I like to kind of ponder, what are the people that saw this thousands of years ago, what were they thinking when they saw an eclipse like this? They wouldn't have understood what we understand today. And so science has brought us to this point where we understand how the planets are moving, how we're orbiting the sun, how the moon orbits the Earth. I think that's really neat to look at how science has served us over this time period and just embrace science as part of our future. I think as we eclipse 8 billion people, we really need science we all need to get on the same page if we're going to move forward as a unified humanity and tackle the big problems that face us on the planet.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's so great to see you again.
It's my pleasure.
Enjoy the eclipse.
I certainly will. You too.
And Heather, that was just part of your conversation. What else did you learn from Jeremy Hansen?
You know, I was surprised to learn, Ian, that Jeremy and I actually share something in common. Neither of us has ever seen a total solar eclipse, and both of us are very excited about tomorrow. He's not sure how he's going to react or what he's going to feel, but he's very excited to see the corona, those beautiful white streamers that are always hidden by the brightness of the sun. So he'll be looking for that tomorrow. He'll let me know how he feels, and if he's about to become an eclipse chaser after that, we'll find out tomorrow.
We can tell in the shot how beautiful Niagara Falls is today, but what's it like when you consider people are already arriving for the eclipse?
It's really exciting here, Ian. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is always one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, and you can see the big crowd. But Niagara Parks was just telling me this is more typical of a peak summer day, not an early April day. And there are big groups here. There are people wearing space gear. You hear different accents. People are here from Australia, New Jersey, and the parking lot behind me here, all the cars have American plates. So there's lots of people who are already starting to arrive. The expectation was there might be as many as 1 million people here for tomorrow. They're revising that downward somewhat, but still, it's going to be a very big crowd. The largest crowd ever here in Niagara for a single event was when Nick Wallenda walked over the tightrope from the American side over here, and there were 150,000 people here for that event. They're expecting many more people than that tomorrow morning. And already, as I said, let me show you. The souvenir shop is humming. Here's an example of what people are buying. And of course, the glasses that we must wear tomorrow to stay safe. And so it's really humming. Crowds are growing. There's so much energy here in Niagara Falls. It's like the city's already having its own coronal mass ejection. So we're ready for tomorrow, let me tell you.
And you'll be leading our extensive coverage in the lead up to and during the eclipse. And so here I am, stuck in Vancouver. I'll be relying on what you're showing us. What can we expect?
But you know, even there, Ian, everywhere across the country, virtually, there will be at least a partial eclipse. So you can experience at least that everywhere in Canada. But the fact of the matter is, with this total solar eclipse, it is all about totality. So we have special coverage starting with our morning show, 6 o'clock Eastern until 10. And we have guests and we have reporters all along the path of totality. But if you're not there, don't worry, you can experience it with us on CBC News all day long, because we have special coverage again coming up in the afternoon. But it's really something because, as I said, the excitement is building. The only question mark is the weather, and that's something over which we have no control, obviously. Beautiful day today. Wish it were like that tomorrow. There is cloud in the forecast, maybe some sunny breaks, but you know, we haven't had an eclipse in Canada since 1979. We won't have another one until 2044. So we want to make the most of every moment, sharing this little bit of Canadian history together. And here in Niagara, if the weather doesn't work out, well, there's always the eclipse donuts that Katie Nicholson showed us earlier in your newscast. And I'm going to keep these at the ready just in case things don't go quite as planned. So cheers. We'll see you tomorrow, Ian.
Looking forward to watching. Well, let's bring in the mayor of Niagara Falls, Jim Diodati, who has been anticipating this day for some time now. The night before the big event, Mayor, how are you feeling?
Well, Ian, it kind of feels like Christmas Eve. You know, it's nervous anticipation before the big event. Of course, Mother Nature's fully in charge, so we're keeping an eye on the weather. It's going to be a clear day for sure. Question is, are we going to get a little bit of cloud? But in the meantime, the people are pouring into the city. I can tell you the restaurants are full. Most of the hotels are full. There's still some rooms, believe it or not, at reasonable rates. I was just talking to the proprietors at the Best Western in town on Lundy's Lane, and they still got 60 rooms for tomorrow, reasonably priced. So there are still rooms, but there's buzz. All the parking lot people, all the people selling merchandise. I saw people in these Dickie D carts selling the goggles, the Eclipse glasses. So you can feel the buzz. People are excited. It's an early start to the tourism season, and we're so ready. After COVID, we're so ready.
Yeah, I mean, I love the enthusiasm that you have, Mayor. For example, I think you said it's going to be clear skies, but there might be a few clouds. So that's the most optimistic spin on that part of it. Listen, for people who are watching in Southern Ontario, who are thinking of maybe making the drive to Niagara Falls tomorrow, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, thank you. First advice is don't leave anything to the last minute. If you're going to drive down, come prepared. Leave early and have everything you're going to need for the day. If you can, bring your glasses. Yes, we're going to have a lot of Eclipse glasses, but don't take a chance. Make sure your car is gassed up or it's charged. Bring with you something to eat, cereal bars, water, in case you're spending time in the car. If you need medication, bring it with you. But please, come early and be patient. And if you can, take the GO train. They've added a whole bunch of extra cars, and the GO train comes right into the downtown of Niagara Falls, which is about a 20-minute walk to the falls. So main thing is be prepared, and maybe a lawn chair, a blanket if you want to sit down and look up and observe the sky as this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity happens.
You know, you declared, I guess, a state of emergency in Niagara Falls a few days ago. That was kind of eye-catching for me. I thought, wow, like, what are the concerns? What are the concerns tonight? Do you think you have everything under control?
No, we do, Ian, and it wasn't the city that did it. It was the regional government that decided to do that on their own. And, you know, we did not do that at the city. We do have things at hand. I had the police chief in here a couple of days ago. We'll have RCMP, OPP, Niagara Regional Police and Parks Police, ambulance, firefighters. We've got porta potties, extra cellular towers. I mean, we've got Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, emergency operations centers all over the region. We are very much ready. We do this for a living. This will be the biggest crowd, mind you, but we're ready.
You have all of that, plus the falls itself. I got to tell you, one of the most breathtaking sights in the world. So I wish you the best tomorrow, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Ian.
A New Brunswick scientist is making sure weather won't get in the way of his Eclipse experience.
That's something you can't really see just on the ground.
The communal effort aimed at guaranteeing a perfect view. The skies above New Brunswick haven't looked like this in more than 1,000 years.
This is a rare event.
A retired scientist turned his new hobby into a community project aimed at getting a rare perspective.
It's a little telescope to go above the clouds during the upcoming solar eclipse.
David Hunter is a man of science, but he gets quite philosophical when he breaks down what's driving him to capture those heavenly images.
Well, my name is David Hunter, and I'm retired. But in my working life, I was a medical physicist working in Toronto. I was born and raised here in Florenceville, New Brunswick, and I came back here and retired. I've always been interested in science and astronomy and cosmology and so forth. Then I realized, my heavens, you know, New Brunswick is going to be on the center line of this eclipse, and we should do something about it and take note of it. So now the lights are flashing. So these are the flashing lights. Originally, I thought it was just going to be a nice little hobby project, which would I would just sort of semi-dabble in it, and it just went beyond that. The last time there was a total solar eclipse in central New Brunswick was in 932, more than 1,000 years ago. And roughly speaking, just statistically, every 400 years, any particular spot on Earth will experience a total solar eclipse. So this is a rare event. We're building and have built what we're calling a balloon-borne solar telescope. So it's a little telescope to go above the clouds, if there are any clouds, during the upcoming solar eclipse, total solar eclipse on the 8th of April, 2024. And the project is to get better views of the Earth and the shadow of the moon and the sun during the eclipse from a high altitude up to 100,000 feet. And we are sending these images real time down to the ground, and we'll be able to see them during the flight. There's the solar telescope camera. There's a other special camera here which is sending real-time images at about 12 to 15 frames per second down to the ground. When the path of totality is coming up from Texas in the United States, it will be approaching New Brunswick from the west-southwest, and our cameras will be looking at the Earth in that direction some of the time, and we should be able to see the shadow of the moon approaching us at the as totality nears. So that's something you can't really see just on the ground. We have to have a recovery team to find the payload. It's a very involved process and involves quite a few people. And I'm grateful to all the people who have been working and continue to work on this project. I really am very thankful.
Wow, that's really doing a good job.
I'm Ian Giberson. As David, I am a locally born and raised man. I knew about the eclipse, and I've always had somewhat of an interest in very basic astronomy and the telescope and the stars, and so I just thought I could contribute something. He was looking for somebody that had a canoe, basically, and I did, and just went from there. Well, I've ended up as part of the payload recovery team, which means the thing goes up 100,000 feet, in theory, and goes somewhere depending on the wind direction and velocity, and lands somewhere, maybe in a river, maybe in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, maybe somebody's backyard, and we pick the thing up and try to get it home before dark.
Then if you watch this, you'll see that the gimbals are moving properly, and you can see the image there. It's tracking it. Now, it's not perfect. My brother Gordon asked me, he knows how much work I'm putting in this, and he said, "David, why are you doing this?" And I couldn't, I thought about it, and really the final answer was, it's my destiny. And so the bottom line is, we have a very special place here on Earth. The eclipse is one demonstration of that, and we should really appreciate this and look after our home planet. It's an incredible situation that we as human beings, we're alive, we're here on the planet, we're conscious, and I just think we're extremely lucky. So it's just that view of thinking that we shouldn't take our existence and lives for granted, and basically marvel at our life every day.
And David's hometown of Florenceville, Bristol, as it's known now, will have totality for almost as long as Niagara Falls. David should have 3 minutes and 20 seconds to capture that corona. Coming up, Banff's famous bear emerges from hibernation.
There's not a lot of bears that look like him.
The sighting many Albertans are chasing in our moment. This bear is a bit of a celebrity in Alberta. They call him the Boss, and he is the most dominant grizzly in Banff National Park. He's eaten a black bear and once brushed off being struck by a train. The return of spring has led to the reemergence of the Boss, still looking as large and legendary as ever. And tonight, some of the first sightings of 2024 make our moment.
There's not a lot of bears that look like him. It was just amazing because you go out with the hope that you're going to see him, but you never know if you're going to. He is massive. He's beautiful. Like, I don't think I've seen a better looking bear, and I have seen a few bears, and he's always the first one out from what they're saying. So typically he's the one you're going to see this time of year. He's very iconic, and he's kind of, like I said, a bucket list kind of bear to see.
It's great. He's become a celebrity. You look at it different ways. It's great tourism for Banff because everybody wants to come to Banff and see him. What I fear is people get too close to him. That's why we have telephoto lenses on cameras, to keep your distance away from him. We just gotta, we all have to stick together and protect the bear and protect the people.
So, tail of the tape, 650 to 700 pounds is how heavy that bear is, about 20 years old. And they can move, I was going to say lightning quick, but I mean, they can move quickly. So you do have to definitely keep your distance. Telephoto lenses, as he said, are the best way to capture that. Thanks for being with us. You can watch anytime, anywhere on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Vancouver. Good night.